Okay, it is 9:43 a.m. and it looks like we have broken past this uptrending trend line, and I am already out of the position. I got out at 9:42, my last piece, which was right here before it did it. It didn't have to. It could have actually held the trend line and uptrended more. It feels a bit weird, honestly, to trade a setup that actually worked. This is NLST, and I considered it for a gap down morning panic bounce play. So it wasn't just a morning panic bounce play where it downtrends and then it has an uptrend ideally if it works out, but it also had a gap down. It's down a lot compared to the previous day. So those two things working together made it pretty nice. I did try to buy earlier at 9:34, which was right here when it was breaking this downtrending trend line for the first time, and I did not get filled. And I kind of learned something from yesterday where, there's two entries when it comes to something like this, a morning panic bounce play. Number one, it could be right when it is under the trend line or just about to break it. Or number two, when it's already showing signs that it could work, and then, you're not going to make as much, but you have less risk because it's in theory starting to work a little. Or again, if you try while it's still under the trend line or right about to break past it, you can always take into consideration the fact that it might just hold this downtrending trend line and it will not break past it, or maybe it briefly does a little bit and then it continues to downtrend some more. So, one you can be in earlier, more risk, more profit, and the other one you can be in with less risk and less profit. And I ended up taking the second one because, again, I didn't get filled here at 934 at 174 when it broke past it. It had a quick move towards VWAP, and then I've seen this before where it makes a move all the way towards VWAP, and then it kind of trades in a little channel, and then it breaks above it and it continues to uptrend some more. So that's the setup I took. At 937, I bought 150 shares at 183. So 937 is right here. I got in at 183, right when it was looking like it was going to break the range, which was this 182 level that it was trading for a while, the top part of it. And I did sell this in pieces. I'm overall happy with the way I sold it. At 938, I sold yeah, a third of my position at 188. So right here at 938, I sold a third here, and it looks like it's actually trying to follow the trend line again, try to aggressively come back. It normally doesn't do it and, establish above it, but is actually trying with these big bidders. That's actually kind of impressive. I guess I'll make an update as to what this one does later. And I did sell the second portion at 939. That was at 194, so that was right here when I sold another 50 shares. And then with my last remaining piece, I held for the trend line break, which happened eventually right here. I got out at 942, and yeah, it went under it, but it manages to hold itself. Sometimes it drops back and it makes a higher low, higher than here in this case, and then it could uptrend, but no, this one's just trying to aggressively get above the trend line again and regain itself. So I guess, yeah, that could be something. As for the other ones, no interest here, no interest here. This will probably take some time if it's able to in the future. Perhaps it could be a setup if it breaks that range again. And then GTII looks like it's downtrending in a really awkward spot right now, so I'm not really that interested unless it does something super clean. It looks like ABML is taking back all the gains they had, so I mean, I don't really want to consider a setup with this one, but in theory, if it lets me draw a trend line, maybe something where it breaks the line, that could be like a whole other reversal setup. That's pretty much it for right now. I'll keep looking at NLST, although I don't see an entry anymore. It would have been the entry if it were to have dropped maybe a bit more. I made a higher low, but this ended up being the drop, which was pretty small. I'll make an update later. Right, it is 9:16 p.m. and I'm here to call it off. Overall, I'm going to be up on the day 13 bucks and 74 cents. One trade with NLST, and that was a morning panic bounce play VWAP breakout, and this one actually worked out pretty nicely. And it's also interesting to note that GTII did the same setup as well, where it had the panic right here, and then it broke the trend line right around here, and then it broke VWAP ultimately after holding it for a while. And that was another setup that made a move towards the upside. But NLST was nicer, a lot cleaner. I wasn't able to get the initial morning panic bounce play, but I did get the move that was playing above VWAP. That was the one I did take, and that one did work out.
and it did get a little bit higher if I try to hold on to it. Maybe even an inverse head and shoulders, shoulder, head, shoulder, perhaps, but the volume started to dry out from that point forward. That's pretty much it for today. I'll be watching CRTD for a potential morning panic bounce play tomorrow, and SAV if it breaks that 14 level. This one's a bit strange. I probably might remove it. GTI will be interesting too if maybe it tries to break $5. Although if it just straight up goes to $5 and break past it, I might be kind of iffy. I'd like to see something a little more advanced. That's pretty much it. Just that one trade with NLST, and I'm glad that I traded something that actually worked.